Hades 2 Early Access just got a surprise release, so of course, I've been playing it non-stop. If you never played the original, it won hearts and minds with its wonderfully unique, hot and thirsty pantheon of Greek gods and goddesses, which was the peanut butter to the chocolate of its snappy combat that changed run after run, depending on which sexy god deemed you worthy of their boons. And of course, the way its story, characters and gameplay evolved and organically responded to each little victory and death felt like a magic trick. Hades 2 continues that magic. It's very much more of what we loved in Hades, delivering more sexy gods, boons and interpersonal drama, along with excellent isometric combat that leaves you diving back in run after run. But like any good sequel, it does it all even better, and of course, has some new tricks up its sleeve. And speaking of magic, this time out we're in the shoes of Melanoe, disciple of Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft, and you're also the sister of the first game's lead, Zagreus. And all I'll say about the story is that Melanoe has some time to kill. Literally, because she has beef to squash with Kronos, the Titan of Time. To be fair, I still need to play a lot more to say much beyond that. After a solid 10 hours and a whole bunch of runs under my belt, I still have so much more to discover, but I'd hate to spoil any of what I've seen so far. Gameplay wise, the basics are largely the same, with different weapons offering unique primary and special attacks, but the specifics are quite different. For one, charging up your attacks now draws from a pool of magic to unleash satisfyingly powerful Omega attacks. Your cast move now also drops down a circle that can slow enemies or damage them when charged as an Omega attack. And of course, boons can add things like fire damage or lightning strikes to those stuck within it. It's a very useful tool for when you need a bit more crowd control, which is almost all the time. Your dash move can now also be held down to engage a sprint, which can also be tweaked by boons to add in extra attacks like explosions or cyclones that activate as you sprint. I also love the extra punch that terrain kills add in. Levels were always full of traps and deadly terrain in the original, but here you'll find more parts of the environment that you can exploit to deliver some extra damage. There's also now a lot more resources for you to gather. During runs you'll come across flowers and things to pick, as well as ores to mine, or spirits to channel. But you'll need to have special tools to be able to grab some of them. So each run you'll need to decide which resource you want and equip the right tool for the job. Then between runs you'll return to a new encampment called the Crossroads, where there's quite a few ways to spend all those things to make your future runs a little bit easier. A cauldron lets you unlock all sorts of things, from improvements to the camp like a shopkeep or plots to grow plants, or various special bonuses and extras that you may stumble across during your runs, to name a few. Perhaps my favourite addition though is the Altar of Ashes, where you can unlock Arcana cards which offer unique perks. Each card costs points from your pool of Grasp to activate. That pool can of course be upgraded and expanded. Some cards are free, but have special requirements needed to activate. After each run, you'll usually find you can afford a new card, or can expand your pool of Grasp to activate additional cards. It's just a great way for you to tweak your build and grow in power each run. All of these little tweaks add up to create so much more depth to your build, and makes each run feel even more unique and satisfying. No effort ever feels wasted. Even when you get a run full of dud boons, you'll never come back to camp empty-handed. Now of course this is early access, so it's not finished. That said, I think if you didn't know that, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. Or at least from the hours I've sunk in so far, this feels just as well rounded and polished as Hades did. I'm sure there's a point where I'll bump my head against what's on offer currently, but I've yet to find it. I'll admit I've grown a bit weary of jumping into games during early access. Sure, it's great to experience something you're excited for early, but often I end up just getting my fix of them before it has a chance to be completed. And by the time the finished product does roll around, I've already been there and done that. But I think the roguelite nature of Hades 2 makes it one of the better candidates for early access. New features, areas, items, and just about anything can be added in, and then you'll naturally experience them on a new run in the future. I also love that they've promised that our save data will continue to work from now through to the final version, so there's hopefully no risk of losing progress. Even in this early state, I'm hooked. Hades 2 already feels deeper, punchier, and more satisfying than the original. So, if you'll excuse me, I've got some time to kill.